Breaking news. Something big is brewing in Denver. And if you're a Broncos fan, you better get ready because this could be one of the most intriguing stories in the team's recent history. We're talking about redemption, rivalry, and a coach who just made it very clear where his priorities lie. Sean Payton is a smart guy, and he has everything he needs to take us to the Super Bowl. I feel like this year the Denver Broncos are going to surprise a lot of people. We have some very powerful weapons, and we have Bonix, who is an excellent quarterback. If you agree that we can make it to the Super Bowl, hit the like button. If possible, comment something like, "Go Broncos! Go Bonix! Let's go to the Super Bowl!" Now come with me, because I need to address some important issues. Think about it. What happens when a quarterback returns to play against his old team? More often than not, it's a brutal reality check for the guy under center. History shows that quarterbacks who return to face their old franchises rarely come out on top. Kirk Cousins tried it against the Vikings. Baker Mayfield did it against the Browns. Russell Wilson himself got his shot against the Seahawks in his first game with the Broncos, and we all remember how that ended. Well, guess what? The NFL may be setting up another one of those grudge matches, and this one is personal. Russell Wilson is now a New York Giant, and the Broncos are set to host the Giants in 2025. If you think that's just another game on the schedule, think again. Sean Payton, who orchestrated the most expensive quarterback divorce in NFL history, will have a chance to go head-to-head with the man he essentially paid $85 million just to get rid of. The NFL loves a good revenge game, and this one has all the ingredients to be an absolute spectacle. Wilson will return to Denver, stepping onto the Empower Field turf, wearing blue instead of orange, and looking to prove to every single Broncos fan that he still had something left in the tank. Meanwhile, Payton will be dialing up everything in his playbook to make sure Wilson's return is a complete disaster. You don't think he's already scheming for this? Think again. And here's the thing. This isn't just a storyline for the media. Broncos fans have been through a roller coaster of emotions over the past few years, watching the franchise go from a hopeful contender to a team that had to hit the reset button in a massive way. And now, there's a new face leading the charge. Bo Nix, the rookie quarterback, represents the future of this franchise. The idea of seeing him in a high-stakes matchup, taking on the guy he was essentially brought in to replace, is nothing short of electrifying. This is the type of game that can set the tone for an entire season. But while fans are still buzzing about this possible showdown, Payton is already looking at the bigger picture. And that picture? It doesn't involve handing out contract extensions, at least not yet. Chris Thomason recently reported that the Broncos have no plans to hand out any extensions until after the 2025 NFL Draft. That means 3 key players, Courtland Sutton, Zach Allen, and Nick Bonitto, are all in a waiting game. Now, this isn't new for Denver. Payton and GM George Payton took a similar approach last year, waiting until deep into the offseason before making any major financial commitments. But with these 3 names hanging in the balance, it raises some big questions.
Let's start with Sutton. After what was arguably the best season of his career, 81 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns, he's in a prime position to negotiate a new deal. But there's a catch. Sutton is approaching 30, and while his numbers in 2023 and 2024 showed flashes of the dominant receiver Denver always hoped he'd become, the years before that were filled with inconsistency and injuries. So the question is, do you reward him now, or do you wait and see if he can replicate that success for one more season? A deal in the range of 3 years, $60 million seems likely, but it's all about timing. Then there's Zach Allen, arguably the most underrated piece on this Broncos defense. The 26-year-old defensive end has quietly been a nightmare for opposing offensive lines, racking up 8.5 sacks and 15 tackles for loss last season. If there's one player Payton might want to lock up sooner rather than later, it's Allen. His market value could push north of $20 million per year, making him one of the highest-paid defensive ends in the league. But if Denver waits too long, they run the risk of letting him test the open market, and good pass rushers don't stay available for long. And finally, there's Nick Bonitto. If there was ever a player who broke out in 2024, it was him. The former second-round pick went from a quiet rookie season to an absolute force off the edge, racking up 13.5 sacks, forcing 2 fumbles, and even finding the end zone twice. That kind of production doesn't go unnoticed, and Payton knows it. Bonitto's situation is different, though. He's still on his rookie deal, meaning the Broncos have some time to make a decision. A 4-year, $100 million extension is a realistic projection, but there's a good chance Denver lets him play through the first half of the season before making a final call. So where does this leave the Broncos? Right now, all eyes are on the draft and the future. Payton aren't making emotional decisions. They're playing the long game. They want to see how this roster takes shape before committing to long-term deals. And honestly, it's a smart move. The reality is this: Denver is in a transition phase, but it's a phase filled with potential. The Broncos are no longer looking back at what could have been with Wilson. They're focused on what's ahead. And for fans, that means embracing a new era, one that starts with Bo Nix, a revamped roster, and a head coach who isn't afraid to make the tough calls. But here's the real question. Who do you think deserves to get paid first? Would you lock up Sutton as a veteran presence for Nix? Do you make sure Allen stays in Denver to anchor the defensive line? Or do you take a chance on Benito and hope his breakout season wasn't a fluke? Let me know in the comments, because this is the type of debate that could shape the future of the Broncos for years to come. And let's not forget, this decision isn't just about money. It's about identity. What kind of team are the Broncos trying to be under Sean Payton? Are they an offense-first team that leans into Bo Nix's development, surrounding him with playmakers like Sutton? Or are they a defense-first squad that wants to win games in the trenches, building around Allen and Benito? The choices Denver makes over the next several months will answer that question. But there's something else happening here that fans need to pay attention to. The Broncos are being patient, maybe even too patient. The rest of the league isn't waiting around. Free agency in 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most competitive in years, and if the Broncos let these contracts linger too long, they run the risk of losing key pieces to teams that are willing to open the checkbook. Just look at what happened to Draymond Jones. Denver wanted to keep him, but they hesitated, and Seattle swooped in with a deal that made it impossible for him to stay. If the Broncos believe Sutton, Allen, and Benito are foundational pieces, they need to act before another team forces their hand. And then there's another wrinkle to consider. What if one of these guys doesn't fit into the long-term vision at all? We saw last season that Payton isn't afraid to make tough calls, even if they're unpopular. Just ask Jerry Jeudy, who many thought would be a cornerstone of this offense for years to come, only to be traded before the 2024 deadline. Could we see a similar situation unfold here? Could Sutton, despite his resurgence, be seen as expendable if the Broncos want to get younger at receiver? Could Allen, as dominant as he's been, be viewed as a luxury rather than a necessity? And what about Benito? Pass rushers are premium assets in the NFL, but they also come with high price tags. If Denver isn't convinced that he's worth a massive long-term deal, could they actually consider moving him while his value is at its peak? This is the kind of chess game that Payton and GM George Payton are playing right now. Every move has consequences, every delay has risks, and every dollar matters. But here's what we do know. This isn't a situation where the Broncos are just kicking the can down the road because they don't have a plan. This is a calculated strategy. They want to see how this team takes shape before committing major money. And to be honest, it makes sense. Think about it. If Bo Nix struggles out of the gate and the offense sputters, Denver might have to rethink its entire approach. Maybe that means investing more in the defense to keep games close.